Paris Olympics. Well, they are showing their bigotry. They are banning hijabs. Muslims have something to say about this. Put up the picture full mass. Per USA Today, 23-year-old Diaba Konate, the NCAA Big West Best Defensive Player, 2023-2024. Great averages, great player, okay? And born and raised in Paris. Has a high free throw percentage, excels in steals, earning breakout star status in this year's NCAA Women's March Madness. However, she cannot play basketball in France, including for the national team in the Paris Olympics, due to her cultural and religious expression you see before you. With millions watching and many people benefiting from this program called Indisputable, we just need 1% of the viewers to become a paid member so we can continue to bring this content to you. Now back to the show. I thought we were beyond this madness. The International Basketball Federation, the Geneva, Switzerland-based organization that governs the sport worldwide, in 2017 overturned a global ban on what they call the headscarves worn by some Muslim women. France's domestic version of that same body, the French Federation of Basketball, has not followed suit. They did not reciprocate this new enlightenment that the world seems to embrace, opting instead to apply the country's laws on secularism that ban the wearing of symbols or clothing that express a religious affiliation in public schools and other institutions linked to the state. And I'm going to give you some context of that in just a moment. So USA Today reports athletes like Diaba, they have faced significant hurdles in their basketball careers. Quote, "The context in France makes me nervous," she said last month in a Zoom call with reporters. Coaches, human rights representatives working to overturn these bans in French sports at both professional and amateur levels. She had a quote. She said, "It's very frustrating to be excluded from representing my country or just being able to play basketball simply because of my religious identity as a Muslim woman who chooses to wear a hijab. I can't fully express my faith and pursue my athletic aspiration." Per Amnesty International, these bans mean many Muslim women are not only excluded from participating, but also never get the necessary training. They never get the opportunities to reach the Olympic level. So the star athlete acknowledged that her selection for France's Olympic basketball team wasn't a shoo-in. However, she pointed out that before the ban came into effect, she played for the French under-18 national team, with whom she won 2 silver medals and 1 gold. Quote, "I don't know if I'm good enough, to be honest. I would never be able to answer that. I've never had the opportunity to actually be part of the team," which is the reason you have equitable opportunity, supposedly. Who are we trying to erase when we say you can't represent France while being visibly Muslim? Asks Helene Bach on the left, a French basketball player and human rights lawyer, in a video message during that call. Co-founder of Basket Pure Tweets has been urging the IOC, International Basketball Federation, to help overturn France's ban. In June, her group, along with 10 other rights organizations, wrote to the IOC president, Thomas Bach, calling the ban clearly a violation of Olympic Charter values. Now, the Olympics should have something to say. USA Today reports activists argue that sports club members in France aren't technically subject to neutrality laws and claim these laws are enforced selectively. You have Timothy Gattiat, a French basketball coach and Basket Pour Toits co-founder, noted that Sikh players wear turbans. They face no bans, unlike Muslim players with hijab. He said the bans have reduced the number of girls playing, potentially leading to low recruitment and the closure of some clubs. Obvious selective implementation there. In response to the letter sent to the IOC to Bach by Basket pour Toits, the other rights groups and the IOC said that in general, athletes were free to wear whatever. They veil, headscarf, hijab in Olympic Village and Olympic venues, but that during competitions, the technical rules set by National Sports Federation applied. The IOC said that, quote, elite athletes competing for French national teams are considered civil servants. This means they must respect the principles of secularism and neutrality. The IOC's letter further added that it knew of only one case of a hijab-wearing athlete competing in Paris for France who was impacted by the ban. It said that case had been resolved to the satisfaction of everyone without offering any further details whatsoever. July 16th, Amnesty International said in a report published ahead of the Paris Olympic Games that the ban on French women athletes who wear headscarves from competing at the Olympic Games breaches international human rights laws and exposes discriminatory hypocrisy of French authorities and the craven weakness of the International Olympic Committee. Researcher Anna Bluss of Amnesty International criticized the ban, stating, it undermines Paris 2024 claims of gender equality and reveals racist gender discrimination in French sports. She added that these discriminatory rules violate Muslim women's human rights and hinder their participation in sports, countering efforts to make the sports more inclusive. Amnesty notes that France's bans in multiple sports breach international human rights treaties and violate the IOC's human rights framework, creating an untenable situation for the Olympic host country. And naturally, this is something that a lot of people are paying attention to, but selective implementation, obviously. The rule of secularism was supposed to create more inclusion, less bias. And sometimes you can be so affixed to a general principle in order to create a progressive atmosphere that your adherence to that principle may violate the very spirit for why the principle exists in the first place. And when that happens, you go back to the spirit, the essence of what you're trying to accomplish. All right, Jackson, thoughts here?
Yeah, exactly. I think you pointed it out well. Principle for principle's sake doesn't always work.
That's right.
You got to be able to move and adjust. And I think that it's silly for anybody to pretend like they don't understand why people are upset about this. This is an issue that's near and dear to millions of people's hearts around the world in terms of people who may follow certain religions. So it's very, very easy to understand why people are upset about this and why you should waive it, because who cares? You know, like this isn't something that people will be like, oh, I'm not going to tune in because they're wearing hijabs. And obviously that's not what it's for. But again, as you pointed out, just trying to even the playing field is in fact stepping on people's toes. So
that's right.
I think that they're, just dealing with an unnecessary problem right now.
Yeah, and it's bringing bad PR to the games, and we just started.